what has happened with the case the last 5 years has been that since Venezuela presented a request for Posada Carriles' extradition June 15 of 2005, the United States government has stonewalled our extradition request. Instead of proceeding to extradite him or to prosecute him in the United States for those 73 counts of murder that are pending in Venezuela, the United States instead has chosen to charge him with minor immigration infractions, specifically lying to immigration officials. And in so doing, they hope to forestall the extradition request until Posada Carriles dies of old age. The case has been going on 5 years now. We have not had any substantive response to our request for extradition, other than U.S. government officials saying publicly at international forum that they are proceeding with the Posada Carriles case, and they're referring, of course, to the charges against them for lying to immigration officials. Lying is not the same as committing murder. And trying somebody for lying falls far short of trying somebody for terrorism and for 73 counts of first-degree murder. There are international conventions and a specific extradition treaty involving Venezuela and the United States. The treaty and the two international conventions, the Montreal Convention dealing with the protection of passengers in civil aircraft, and the convention dealing with acts of terrorism with the use of bombs, those treaties and conventions obligate the United States to either extradite them or prosecute them. The United States is shirking its international obligations in this case, and it should not be a matter of politics. It should be a matter of law. The law requires extradition or prosecution, and the United States should, if it is serious at all about its war on terrorism, try Posada Carriles in the United States or extradite him to Venezuela for 73 counts of first-degree murder. You cannot fight a war on terrorism a la carte. You can't pick and choose which terrorist you're going to prosecute and which terrorist you're going to protect. You have to prosecute all terrorists because all terrorism should be condemned and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The United States, by stonewalling the extradition request, has purposefully evaded its international obligations. The trying of Posada Carriles on minor immigration infractions is a ruse. It's a way to get around its international obligations, so it can tell the world that it is serious about prosecuting Posada, so that the world doesn't find out that really the United States is protecting him. Posada is free in the streets of Miami today. He goes to political rallies, he attends political demonstrations, he gives speeches to his supporters. In one particular speech, he called for violence once again in Cuba. He goes to restaurants and is often seen about town, whining and dining and smoking cigars, which are presumably not Cuban, in public. And this is a man who should be in jail. The families of the victims that he has killed in cold blood demand justice, and it's only reasonable that they bring closure to the grief that they have suffered all these decades. It is not just to have the person who murdered your family member roaming free in the streets of Miami, protected by the most powerful government in the history of civilization. The United States should hold true to its bedrock principles of law and prosecute or extradite this terrorist.